The forest on Valaris 5 was quiet. Birds with glowing wings flew between tall red trees. The wind moved gently through the branches. It was peaceful. And that peace was normal for this far edge of the human colony. A 12-year-old girl named Mira walked alone among the trees. She liked being outside. She wasn't like the other kids at school. They laughed too much, talked too fast, and played loud games. Mira preferred the forest. Here, she felt calm. She held a small basket and picked purple wildflowers. They only bloomed during the warm season. And Mira liked how they smelled. Her mother would smile when she brought them home. Suddenly, Mira stopped. She turned her head to the left. There was a sound, a small, broken sound. Not a bird, not a bug. It was soft, like a whimper. Her heart skipped. Something was crying. She walked slowly toward the sound. The trees became thicker. Leaves brushed against her arms. Then she saw smoke rising ahead. It came from the ground, not much. Just a few gray wisps between the bushes. She pushed through, careful not to step on anything. There it was. A strange metal object had crashed between two rocks. It was half buried in dirt, broken, scorched, and bent. It didn't look human. It had markings she couldn't read. Parts of it still glowed. It must have fallen from the sky. But that wasn't what made her eyes go wide. Next to the wreckage, lying flat on the ground, was a small creature. It looked like a baby dragon, no bigger than her school bag. Its gray scales were chipped and cracked. One wing was bent in the wrong direction. Its tail dragged weakly on the ground. It didn't move much, just a little rise and fall of its chest, like it was barely breathing. Mira froze. She had never seen anything like it. Its head was long, and two tiny horns curved back from its forehead. Its eyes were half open, golden, and glowing faintly, but dull like a light going out. It made that sound again, a weak cry, like it was in pain. It didn't growl or hiss. It didn't try to run. It just lay there, quiet, as if waiting to die. Mira slowly stepped closer. The creature didn't react. She crouched and reached out her hand. Her fingers trembled. Was it dangerous? Would it bite? But something told her it wouldn't. Her hand touched the Dragonling's head. It was cold. Too cold. She gently touched its side. She could feel the slow thump of its heart. Weak. Very weak. You're just a baby, Mira whispered. She looked around. No one was nearby. Her home was about a mile away. The sun was starting to set. I can't leave you here, she said softly. She took off her scarf and wrapped it around the Dragonling's small body. It was light. Bones could be felt under the skin. Carefully, she lifted it into her arms. The Dragonling gave a soft sound. Not a cry, just a small noise. Like it knew she was trying to help. Mira held it close to her chest. She walked quickly, avoiding open paths. If any scouts were out, they might see her. She didn't want to answer questions. By the time she reached her home, the sky had turned orange. Her house was small, made of metal and stone, with solar panels on the roof. Her father worked inside, fixing colony drones. He stayed focused for hours when working. He wouldn't notice her. She went straight to the old shed behind the house. It was dusty and dark inside, filled with old parts and boxes. No one used it anymore. Mira placed the Dragonling on a soft blanket and lit a small lamp. She looked at its wounds. There were burns along its side, cuts on its legs, dry blood near one eye. She grabbed a cloth and cleaned its skin with warm water. I don't know who you are, she whispered, but I'll help you. She brought some water in a dish. The Dragonling didn't move. She dipped her fingers in and touched its mouth. It licked the water slowly. Mira smiled a little. That was a good sign. She went inside the house, quietly, and took a piece of cooked meat from the kitchen. Back in the shed, she broke it into tiny pieces and offered them to the creature. It didn't eat, but it sniffed them. Another small step. Mira sat down beside it. She watched it breathe. I think I'll call you Ash, she said. Your color reminds me of the campfire ash from last summer. Ash didn't respond, but his head tilted slightly. That night, Mira barely slept. She kept checking on the Dragonling, bringing more water, checking its breathing. She told herself it might not survive, but she hoped. She hoped with all her heart. Morning came. Sunlight peeked through the window of the shed. Mira opened the door and stepped inside. Her breath caught in her throat. Ash was sitting up, not fully, and he looked tired, but he was awake. His golden eyes met hers. They were still weak, but no longer dull. There was something else in them now. Awareness. Mira stepped closer. Hey, you're still here. Ash made a soft clicking sound in his throat. Mira smiled. I think you're going to be okay. She reached out slowly. Ash leaned his head into her palm. His skin was rough and cool, but she could feel a spark of warmth returning. He wasn't just surviving now. He was healing, and Mira knew this was just the beginning. The morning sun rose slowly over the forest, casting long golden rays across the edge of the colony. Inside the old shed behind Mira's house, the air felt warm and quiet. The smell of dust and old metal filled the space. But now it mixed with something new, a faint scent like burning leaves, coming from the little Dragonling curled on the blanket. Mira opened the door and stepped inside, holding a small tray. On it were a few pieces of soft meat, a slice of fruit, and a cup of water. She sat beside the Dragonling and smiled. Good morning, Ash, she said softly. Ash lifted his head. His golden eyes blinked slowly. His breathing was still slow, but stronger than yesterday. The wounds on his side had started to close. His torn wing was still bent, but it wasn't bleeding anymore. Mira offered a piece of meat. Ash sniffed it, then opened his mouth and took it gently from her fingers. He chewed it slowly, then looked up at her. She laughed quietly. That's it. Eat more. You need strength. Ash ate 3 more small bites. When he finished, he curled up again. Resting his head near Mira's knee, she reached out and brushed her hand across his head. His scales were still rough and cool, but not as cold as before. The shed had become their secret world. Mira brought supplies, everyday food, water, bandages, and warm cloth. She cleaned his wounds carefully and talked to him, telling him about her life, her school. In the colony, she never talked much at school. People called her quiet, but with Ash, words came easily. He never interrupted or laughed. He just listened. Eyes calm, body relaxed. She didn't know if he understood, but she liked speaking to him anyway. On the 4th day, something strange happened. Mira sat on the ground beside Ash, telling him about her favorite book when a sudden warmth touched her mind. Not her skin, her mind. It was a soft feeling, like a warm breeze inside her thoughts. She blinked and looked at Ash. His eyes were fixed on hers. Then she heard a sound, not with her ears but inside her head. A voice. It was not in any language. She knew, but it didn't scare her. It was gentle, curious, like someone knocking on a door. She froze. Was that you? She whispered. Ash tilted his head. His eyes glowed brighter. The warm feeling returned. Then, inside her mind, came another sound. It was like a question. Not in words, but a question full of emotion. Who are you? Mira gasped. She put a hand on her chest. You're talking to me. Ash didn't move his mouth, but the warmth in her mind deepened. A feeling of safety, of thankfulness, touched her heart. The voice wasn't loud, but it was clear now. Mira, you saved me. Her eyes filled with tears. She wasn't afraid. She felt something deep, something new. It was a bond not just of kindness, but something stronger. She wasn't just helping a hurt creature. She was helping someone who understood. You know my name. I remember. Your voice. You held me when I was cold. You gave me warmth. She reached out and gently touched his head. You're amazing. Ash closed his eyes and made a soft trill. For the first time, Mira heard it clearly. He was happy, even if just a little. The days passed quickly. Every morning, Mira woke early and ran to the shed. Ash grew stronger each day. His wing was healing slowly. His body filled out with weight. His eyes became brighter, alert, and sharp. He learned to walk again, first with slow steps, then quicker, steadier ones. Mira guided him through short walks in the woods behind the shed. She showed him where the soft moss grew and where the ground was smooth. At night, She read to him from her old storybooks. Ash didn't speak in words, but he listened, and sometimes she felt emotions from him: excitement during the hero's fight, sadness when the story grew dark, joy when the ending was good. They didn't need full sentences. Their bond was stronger than that. One evening, Mira returned home to find her father sitting at the table with a worried look. "Mira," he said, "I want you to be careful near the forest." She paused. "Why?" "Some scouts found wreckage deep in the trees. Something non-human. Burned metal. Unmarked." Mira's heart beat faster. She kept her face calm. "Is it dangerous?" "Could be. They think it was a small alien ship. Maybe a pod. Could be nothing. Could be something." She nodded slowly. "I'll stay close to the house." But her mind was already racing. Back in the shed, she told Ash what her father said. Ash looked down, eyes dimming. He sent her a feeling: fear, but not of the scouts. A memory: fire, pain, falling from the sky. "You were in that ship," Mira said quietly. Ash didn't respond with words, but he didn't need to. She knew it was true. "You crashed here. That's how I found you." He looked up at her. "I was alone. I thought I would die." Mira touched his head gently. "You're not alone now." That night, Mira had a strange dream. She stood on a mountain, looking up at a sky filled with stars. A great shadow flew overhead: large wings, a long tail, glowing eyes. She reached up, and the shadow came down. It wasn't just Ash. It was a sky full of creatures like him, flying, alive. She woke with a start, heart pounding. She didn't know what the dream meant, but something told her Ash was more than just a lost baby. He came from somewhere important, somewhere far. A week passed. Ash had grown larger, now the size of a small dog. His wings had healed enough to stretch. Though he couldn't fly yet, he followed Mira closely during their walks, and stayed near when she read her books aloud. Then, one afternoon, she found him staring at the sky. His eyes were full of longing. "Do you miss your home?" she asked. Ash was silent. Then came the soft voice in her mind. "Yes, but you are my home now." Mira sat beside him. She didn't know what the future would bring, but she knew one thing for sure. She and Ash were no longer strangers. They were bonded, and their story had just begun. The colony on Valaris 5 was usually quiet. People worked hard during the day and rested peacefully at night. Families lived in small homes made of metal and stone. Children played in the open fields. Drones floated through the air, carrying supplies or fixing things. Life was simple and safe. But now, the air felt different. Whispers passed from house to house. People spoke in low voices. Something had changed. Scouts had found broken pieces of metal deep in the forest. Not human. The shape was wrong. The metal was scorched and glowing. There were strange symbols on it, written in a language no one could read. It didn't look like any ship used by humans. The patrols had increased. Soldiers walked the edges of the colony with scanners. Drones flew higher and watched the skies longer. People were told not to go near the forest. Mira heard all this from her father. He sat at the dinner table, frowning as he read reports on his old data pad. "They found more wreckage," he said. "This isn't just space junk." Something landed or crashed. Mira stayed quiet. Her heart beat fast. She kept her eyes on her plate. "Could it be dangerous?" she asked. "Maybe," he replied. "They're sending more patrols until they know what it is." Everyone should stay alert. That night, when the sky turned dark, Mira quietly left the house and slipped into the shed. Ash was waiting. He sat on his blanket, his wings curled neatly around him. His body had grown stronger. His scales were no longer dull, and the golden glow in his eyes was brighter than ever. Mira knelt beside him. "They're getting closer," she whispered. "They found more of your ship." Ash looked down. His tail moved slowly behind him. "They will take me if they find me." "I won't let them," Mira said. Ash looked at her and sensed a feeling of warmth. He believed her. The next morning, Mira woke early. She packed a small bag with food, water, and a few supplies. She slipped outside before the sun was fully up. Her father was still sleeping. In the shed, Ash stood ready. He stretched his wings. testing their strength. He was almost the size of a large dog now. He could walk beside her without stumbling. "Come on," Mira whispered. "Let's move you somewhere safer." They walked together through the trees, sticking to narrow paths. Mira knew the forest well. She had played here since she was little. She led Ash to a hidden place near the old river. Tall trees formed a natural roof above them. The ground was soft with moss. No drones flew this far. Ash sniffed the air and looked around. He sent her a thought. This place felt calm. "This will be your new spot," she said. "It's too risky to keep you near the house now." Ash lowered his head and nuzzled her arm. She smiled. Each day after school, Mira came to visit him. She brought food, told stories, and helped him practice moving his wings. Slowly, Ash began jumping small distances, gliding between low rocks, and bouncing on fallen logs. She laughed whenever he tripped and helped him back up. He chirped happily when he got it right. But even in their joy, the worry grew. One afternoon, as Mira walked home, she passed two men in uniform talking near the market. "We picked up something strange on the scanner," one said. "Living, not human." Her heart dropped. "It's moving near the western woods," the other added. "Might be what we're looking for." She kept walking, eyes forward. But her mind was racing. They were close. That evening, Mira returned to Ash with a serious look on her face. "They're using scanners now. They're picking up life signs." Ash lowered his head. A low hum rumbled from his chest. "You need to stay hidden," she said. "Stay under the tree cover. Don't light your eyes at night. I'll bring food earlier in the day." Ash nodded. Then he looked at her and sent a thought filled with sadness. "I don't want to hide forever." Mira felt the pain in his words. He was lonely. He missed the sky, the stars, his home. He didn't belong in a forest. But he wasn't safe anywhere else. She reached out and held his face between her hands. "I'll find a way. I promise. I don't care how long it takes." Ash closed his eyes and leaned into her hands. His trust in her was unshakable. 2 days later, Mira was called into the colony center. Her father stood beside her, looking confused. One of the patrol officers had asked to speak with her. The officer was tall, wearing dark armor with a symbol of the colony guard. He held a scanner in one hand. "You walk near the forest often," he said. Mira nodded. "I like the woods. Have you seen anything strange? Heard anything? Creatures? Sounds?" She shook her head. "No, just birds and animals." He narrowed his eyes. "Our equipment says something alive is moving out there. It's not human. If you know anything, it's best to speak now. We want to keep everyone safe." Mira stayed calm. "I don't know anything." After a long moment, the officer nodded. "Let us know if you see anything." She walked home with her father in silence. That night, she didn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, holding her pillow tight. She needed to do something before it was too late. The next day, Mira took her old sketch pad from under the bed. She opened it to a blank page and began to draw. She didn't know why, but it helped her think. She drew Ash, sitting tall with his wings spread wide, his eyes glowing, his tail wrapped around a rock. He looked proud, not hiding, not afraid. She looked at the drawing for a long time. Then she packed a bag. Inside she placed the sketch pad, food, a small med kit, and a tiny glowing stone she had found long ago, something Ash once looked at. With deep memory in his eyes, she would not let them take him. If she had to run with him, she would. Whatever came next, she was ready. The sun was just rising when Mira reached the hidden clearing near the river. The air was cool, and soft mist floated above the ground. Birds chirped from the trees, but Mira didn't hear them clearly. Her thoughts were heavy. She stepped between the tall trees and found Ash resting under the largest one. His wings were folded tight to his sides. He looked peaceful, but when he saw Mira's face, he stood up quickly, his golden eyes focused on her. "They're coming," Mira said, out of breath. "They found stronger signals. They think something is alive out here, and they're sending drones to search." Ash stepped closer. His scales shimmered slightly in the light. Mira placed a hand on his neck. "You can't stay here anymore. They'll find you if you stay." Ash didn't speak through his thoughts this time. He just looked at her. Mira could feel the worry in his eyes. She knew he didn't want to leave her, but he also didn't want to be hunted. We have to move, she said. There's an old tower deep in the forest. No one goes there anymore. It's broken, but it's big. You can hide inside. Ash gave a soft trill and nodded. Mira had already planned the path in her head. She had drawn it out the night before, marking the safest trails. They would need to go quickly. Drones were fast, and the scanners were getting better every day. She threw her small backpack over her shoulder and gave Ash one last look. Let's go. The forest was thick with green leaves and twisting vines. The deeper they went, the quieter it became. No people, no machines, just nature. Ash moved beside Mira, silent and focused. His claws barely touched the ground as he walked. His wings hung low to stay hidden between the trees. Mira kept her ears open. She listened for the hum of drones or the sound of soldiers. But for now, it was quiet. After nearly an hour of walking, they reached the edge of the old comms tower. The tower stood tall and broken, made of metal and stone. Ivy covered most of it. Parts of it had fallen long ago. A large doorway stood at the bottom, wide open. No lights, no machines, just shadows. Mira stepped inside first. The air was dry and cool. The ground was covered with dust and small stones. Ash followed her in and looked around carefully. This place should keep you safe, Mira said, at least for a little while. She led him to a back room. It was small but hidden. Only one narrow path led to it. Ash curled up on the ground and looked at her. You should go. Mira frowned. I'm not leaving you. They'll come for me. If they find you, they'll take you too. I don't care. Ash stepped forward. He touched his head to her shoulder and sent a warm feeling into her thoughts. I want you to be safe. Mira held back tears. She understood, but she couldn't walk away. Not now. I'll stay here for a little, she said, just until the patrols pass. Ash didn't argue again. Back in the colony, the search teams were busy. The scanners had picked up strong readings near the western woods. A team of 5 soldiers set out that morning, followed by to search drones. Their orders were clear. Find the unknown life form and report it. The drones flew low, scanning trees and ground. They moved quickly, sending back images every few seconds inside the tower. Mira heard a faint sound like buzzing. She jumped to her feet. Ash stood quickly and moved beside her. It's the drones, she whispered. They're close, Ash. Back deeper into the room, Mira ran to the entrance and peeked outside. Through the trees, she saw the flying shapes, moving fast. We have to hide. She ran back and grabbed the old metal door. It creaked loudly, but she pushed it slowly until only a sliver of light came in. They waited in silence. The sound grew louder. Ash lay flat on the ground. Mira crouched beside him. She placed her hand on his back, and he sent her a feeling calm, steady, ready. The drone passed overhead. Its scanner beam swept across the trees but didn't go deep enough to see. The tower entrance, after a minute, the sound faded. Mira let out a slow breath. That was close. Ash looked at her. They won't stop. No, she said. But we're smarter. We'll stay ahead of them. Later that day, Mira sat by the doorway, thinking. Ash rested behind her, his wings rising and falling with each breath. She looked at the small glowing stone she carried. It was smooth and warm. Ash had once stared at it for a long time. Mira didn't know why, but she felt it was important. She turned to him. Where were you going when you crashed? Ash lifted his head slowly. He looked at the stone, then at her. I was running. From what? He paused. Then came a slow message in her mind. Bad ones. They wanted me. They chased my ship. I escaped. Mira frowned. Why would they want you? Ash didn't answer right away. But Mira saw his tail twitch. Because of who I am. She didn't press him. She could see it hurt him to think about it. You don't have to explain, she said gently. Ash looked down. You saved me. That's all that matters now. As night came, the tower grew darker. Mira shared some food with Ash and lay down beside him on a soft cloth. She looked up at the broken ceiling. where stars peeked through the gaps. I don't know what's going to happen, she whispered, but I'm with you. Ash curled around her like a shield. His warmth kept her safe as her eyes closed. She felt one last thought from him. I won't let anyone take you, but far away. In a hidden command center, a new signal blinked on a soldier's screen. It showed movement life inside the old tower ruins. He stood up and called his team. I found something. We move at dawn. The sky was dark, but the stars shone bright above the forest. The wind whispered softly through the trees. Mira and Ash were awake inside the old tower, knowing danger was near. From the small window, Mira saw red and blue lights flashing outside. The patrols had arrived. They are here, she whispered. Ash looked at her with wide golden eyes, ready. To protect her, Mira grabbed her bag and looked at Ash. We have to leave, now. Ash stretched his wings slowly. He was strong enough to fly short distances, but not far. Mira climbed onto his back, holding tightly. The metal door creaked as she opened it a little. The patrol soldiers were moving quietly, scanning the area with their devices. One of the drones flew low, its light sweeping the ground. Mira waited for a moment, then pushed the door open. She jumped onto Ash's back. Hold on, she said. Ash flapped his wings hard. The air rushed past them as he lifted off the ground. The trees blurred beneath them. Mira held tight as Ash flew low between the branches. The drones followed, their engines humming loudly. Soldiers shouted below, trying to keep up. Ash dodged left, then right, flying fast but carefully. He was still young and weak, but he knew how to hide in the forest, Mira whispered. We can lose them. Ash dipped and climbed. The drones circled, trying to trap them. Suddenly, Ash faltered. His wing brushed a tree branch. He stumbled but did not fall. Keep going, Mira urged. Ash pushed harder, flapping his wings with all his might. Mira could feel his muscles strain under her. Ahead, the river came into view. The water sparkled under the moonlight. If we cross the river, they won't follow us easily, Mira said. Ash flew faster toward the riverbank. The patrols shouted. From the ground below, the river was wide, with smooth stones and fallen logs. Ash landed quickly, shaking his wings free of water. Mira slid off his back and ran to the other side. Ash followed closely, panting but steady. The patrols reached the riverbank too late. They watched as Mira and Ash disappeared into the thick trees on the other side. One soldier said. They got away. Mira led Ash deeper into the forest, away from the patrols. They moved quietly, hiding behind bushes and tree trunks. Ash looked tired. His wings ached. Mira stopped and sat beside him. You're doing great, she said. We just need to rest. Ash closed his eyes and leaned against her. She stroked his head softly. Suddenly, a noise came from the bushes. Mira stood up quickly. Ash growled softly, ready to defend. Out stepped a young boy about Mira's age. He wore simple clothes and had a kind face. Don't be afraid, he said. I'm Yelen. I live nearby. Mira relaxed. We're running from the patrols. They want to take him. Yelen looked surprised. You have a Dragonling. That's rare. Mira nodded. I found him hurt in the forest. I'm trying to keep him safe. Yelen smiled. I can help. Yelen led them to a hidden cave not far from the river. It was cool and dry inside. There was food and water stored there. You can stay here, Yelen said. No one knows about this place. Mira smiled gratefully. Ash curled up on the soft floor, finally able to rest. We need to plan, Mira said. They will keep looking. Yelen nodded. I know people who might help, but it's risky. Mira looked at Ash. He was breathing steadily now, but she could see he needed more time to heal. We have to be careful, she said. If they catch him, it could be bad. Yelen placed a hand on her shoulder. You're brave. I'll help. You protect him. That night, Mira sat beside Ash in the cave. She whispered stories about Earth and the stars. Ash listened quietly, eyes half closed. Suddenly, the gentle warmth returned to her mind. Ash was sending her thoughts again. Thank you, Mira, for saving me. Tears came to her eyes. She smiled. You're welcome, Ash. I won't let anything happen to you. Ash leaned into her touch. Their bond grew stronger. The next morning, Mira and Yelen went to gather food. They moved carefully, avoiding the patrols. As they walked, Mira told Yelen more about Ash and where she found him. Yelen listened closely. You're doing something important. I believe your bond will change things. Mira nodded. I hope so. They returned to the cave with fresh supplies. Days passed. Mira trained Ash to fly longer and stronger. Ash learned to listen and follow her commands. He was becoming powerful, but still gentle. One afternoon, while resting near the river, Ash looked up at the sky. I want to see the stars again. Mira smiled sadly. We will, someday. But the patrols were not giving up. They sent more soldiers and drones into the forest. They were determined to find the Dragonling. Mira knew time was running out. She looked at Ash and whispered, we have to be ready to run again. Ash nuzzled her hand. Together, they prepared for whatever would come next. The forest was quiet again. The sun filtered softly through the tall trees, casting gentle shadows. On the ground, Mira sat beside Ash in the hidden cave, her heart heavy with questions. Ash was stronger now. His wings stretched wide, and his golden eyes shone bright. But there was still something unknown about him, something Mira needed to understand. I want to know where you came from, Mira said softly. Who sent the ships after you? Ash looked down, then slowly raised his head. He touched his glowing stone, the one Mira had brought him long ago. A warm light began to glow from the stone. Mira watched as colors shifted and images appeared like a small, moving picture. She saw a great world, a planet covered in forests, mountains, and glowing rivers. Tall creatures with wings flew across the sky. The Dragonlings were many there, strong and proud. Then the images changed. Dark ships appeared. They burned the land, chased the creatures, and destroyed everything in their path. Ash's eyes grew sad. He sent a thought to Mira's mind. My home was lost. They hunted my family. I escaped to survive. Mira reached out and touched his head. You're the last of your kind. Ash nodded slowly. I am the heir. The glowing stone showed a symbol, a crown made of light and fire. Ash's ancestors had ruled the Dragonling world. But now, Ash was alone. Mira held back tears. She knew how lonely that must feel. But you're not alone now, she said firmly. I'm here. Ash looked at her and sent a warm feeling back. Later, Mira sat by the cave entrance, looking at the stars as night fell. She thought about the future. If Ash was the last heir, then those who chased him would not stop until they found him. He was important, powerful, and dangerous to those who wanted to control him. Mira knew she had to protect him, not just for Ash's sake, but for all who still believed in peace. Her hand brushed over Ash's soft scales. We'll find a way, together. The next morning, Mira woke early. She felt a new sense of hope and courage. Ash stretched his wings wide and took flight for the first time without help. He soared above the trees, powerful and free. Mira watched with a smile. She knew this was only the beginning of their journey. But suddenly, a message came through her small communicator. The colony's council wanted to speak with her. She took a deep breath and answered. The voice was serious but calm. We have detected your presence near the forest. We wish to discuss the alien creature you have been hiding. Mira's heart raced. I'm ready to talk, she said. That afternoon, Mira walked into the colony council chamber with Ash by her side. The room was full of people in uniforms, watching. Carefully, she stood tall and spoke clearly. This is Ash. He was hurt and alone. I saved him because I believed in kindness. A man in a uniform stepped forward. Do you understand that Ash is a being of great power? His kind once ruled a distant world. If he falls into the wrong hands, it could bring danger to our colony. Mira nodded. I understand, but I believe Ash wants peace, not war. Ash sent a thought to the room. Gentle and clear, I seek friendship, not fight. The council murmured. After long discussion, they agreed to protect Ash and study him carefully. They saw that Mira's bond with Ash was strong and true. That night, Mira and Ash returned to the forest. The council had promised help, but Mira knew she could not rely only on them. She looked at Ash and smiled. Your story is just beginning. We will face many challenges, but together we will overcome them. Ash spread his wings and soared into the night sky. Mira felt hope fill her heart. She was ready for whatever came next. The dawn sky was soft pink and orange as Mira stood on the hill overlooking the colony. Beside her, Ash stretched his wings wide, strong and graceful. The long journey had changed. Then the colony below was peaceful again. Soldiers no longer searched the forests. The council had kept their promise. Ash was protected. People had begun to accept the Dragonling. Some even came to see him, curious and amazed. Mira smiled. This was a new beginning for everyone. Life was not easy. Many days were filled with challenges. Ash still had much to learn about the human world, and Mira had to protect him from those who did not understand. But they were not alone. The council had sent scientists and helpers to study Ash kindly. They built a special sanctuary near the forest where Ash could live safely. Trees were planted, and pools of water were made. It was like a home. Mira spent her days teaching Ash about humans and their ways. Ash showed her how to listen with more than ears, through thoughts and feelings. Their bond was deeper than ever. One afternoon, while Mira and Ash rested by a river, a strange sound came from the sky. A small ship landed nearby. Mira's heart beat fast. Out stepped a tall figure, wrapped in a shining cloak. The figure looked at Ash and Mira with warm eyes. I am Loran, the stranger said. I come from your home, Ash. Ash's eyes glowed brightly. Mira held her breath. Loran explained that Ash's world was not lost forever. Many had escaped, hiding in distant places. They had watched from afar, hoping one day Ash would return. I am here to bring news, Loran said. The time is coming for you to reclaim your place. But you will need help. Mira looked at Ash. He was quiet but determined. Days turned to weeks as Mira, Ash, and Loran prepared. Ash grew stronger. His wings stretched wide, ready to fly beyond the colony. Mira learned more about Ash's people and their history. She saw the hope in Ash's eyes. He wanted to help his kind and protect the galaxy from those who destroyed his home. Mira smiled. You are not just my friend, you are my family. Ash sent her a warm feeling. The day came when Ash took to the sky with Loran beside him. Mira watched as they soared higher and higher, the sun shining on their scales and metal wings. Be safe, Mira whispered, and come back soon. Ash looked down and sent her a thought. This is not goodbye. We will meet again. Mira nodded, tears in her eyes. Life in the colony continued. Mira became known for her bravery and kindness. She helped others understand the alien world and the creatures within it. She often looked to the sky, dreaming of Ash's return and the adventures they would share. The story of a human girl and a little alien dragonling had touched many hearts. It showed that kindness and friendship could cross worlds and change futures. Mira and Ash's bond was a light in the darkness, a promise that no matter where you come from, you can find a place to belong.